Redditors with thin walls, what have you heard in your apartment? In college, I lived in a crappy apartment nearby the school that was mostly populated by students. Halfway to class one day, I realized I forgot a book and had to rush back to my apartment to get it. As I was running up the stairs, which shared a wall with the stairs in the next door apartment, which mirrored my own, I could have sworn I heard someone yelling. I ignored it and ran to my room to grab my book. As I clambered downstairs, again I heard yelling, and I paused to listen. I heard some unintelligible moaning, and eventually heard the words "help me" weakly groan from the stairs next door. I rushed out and tried their door, but it was locked. I totally forgot about my class and ran to the apartment management office, hoping that someone was there. A manager was, thank goodness, and after I explained the situation, she grabbed her master keys and we booked it back to my neighbor's place. She opened the door and the poor guy was laying in the stairwell. It was one of the ones that goes up halfway to the second floor, then turns 90 degrees for the rest of the way, clearly having fallen. I called 911 while the manager ran over to the guy. Ambulance came and picked him up, and I later learned that he had fallen down the stairs after passing into a brief diabetic coma. I guess he hadn't eaten in some time. I don't know too much about how diabetes works. Anyhow, to this day, I feel grateful that I forgot that book. That poor guy could have died, slumped halfway down the stairs with his face in the carpet. Edited to @ also, relevant to the thread, I was grateful for the thin walls. Just for that though. Thin walls suck. My old neighbor was a cam girl and I could hear absolutely everything she said in every single session for a good 4 months. Pretty much learned the names of her clients. I work from home, and it was always a gamble whenever I had to meet with someone virtually. I once heard a former roommate laughing with his then girlfriend about how they're fucking me over on money. Turned out they were taking my utility portion and buying various games and alcohol. Instead of confronting them, I confirmed what they said with the utilities company. They hadn't paid the bill as 2 months, and I moved all my stuff out that day while they were at work. For good measure, I took myself off the lease and told them about the GF that had been there 6 months. I can hear when my neighbors vacuum. Our building tends to vacuum together as a result. I hear my upstairs neighbor and go, oh hey, I should vacuum, haven't done that in a while, and it's already noisy. Then my downstairs neighbor and my left hand neighbor start vacuuming. It's kinda hilarious. My right hand neighbor doesn't vacuum with us, but does sing opera while doing dishes. Years ago I had an upstairs neighbor. At 2 AM every night, I would hear something sprint across the entire apartment. I realized 3 things. It was very fast, it took small strides, and it never deviated from its path. One day, I saw my neighbor outside and I said, I don't know how you have energy at 2 AM. He responded with, dude, I've been working the midnight to 8 AM shift for 15 years. Doesn't bother me at all. That night, I watched him leave his house, drive off, and waited 2 hours. At exactly 2 AM, I heard what sounded like 2 feet hit the floor in his bedroom, and the marathon started. A few weeks later, I see him outside. I tell him what I hear at night and he says, that's strange. No one has my keys. It's just me and my rabbit up there. I've heard and felt the neighbors upstairs having sex. And apparently they like to rearrange the furniture at least twice a week. My upstairs neighbors taking turns zapping each other with a stun gun, hitting the floor, groaning in pain, and then laughing like Beavis and Butthead. William, we do not hit. His mom was visiting. He was 30. My ex-neighbors never let their kids leave the house and preferred to raise bubble children. The older son, 12 or 13, was pitifully fragile. One day I heard him crying because he shit on his own hands. Upstairs neighbors were a single mom and teenage daughter. They were very loud. The mom's room was above my room. One day I nodded off and was woken up by sex upstairs. It was pretty common in the previous couple weeks. This time, though, someone came in and started screaming, "You're having sex in my bed?" Turns out the daughter had been skipping school and coming back to the apartment with her boyfriend. They were the ones having sex in the mom's bed. The fight that ensued should have earned both women awards. I heard my roommates having sex very loudly. I didn't say anything at the moment, but sat them down the next day and talked about it. Turns out the boyfriend was at work during the time it happened.